Wow. After an entire month, Phil has finally beaten Donkey Kong Bonanza, and he's finally going to explain to us, in his own words, why this is a bad game. Keep in mind, pretty much everyone else who's played this game absolutely loves it and considers it one of the best games of the year and one of the best games on Switch too. I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm actually, if you can check my review for comparison, I actually did come away from the game like very disappointed in it as well. Like I released one of the more critical reviews out there. I still liked the game, but I felt the game wasn't as good as like Donkey Kong 64 or like Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. It's better than 3, Donkey Kong Country 3, but that's not really saying much. So like I came away from Bonanza like relatively disappointed with it, but I've been playing the game, exploring the world and collecting bananas, and you do kind of understand that this is a different kind of game than what we're used to, and that it's like made for like a younger audience, and that's fine. Like if anything, like I'm very happy this game was made. They took so many risks with it. Like it's just my opinion that like it's not to my preferences, and it's not really what I wanted from a 3D Donkey Kong game. But like that's just me. Most people are like completely over the moon about this game, and it's really easy to see why. It does look great. It does have a lot of great mechanics. It does have a great story, great characters. Like there's plenty of things to like about this game, but like DSP has been seething about this game near constantly, and it is because that he's not very good at it. And well, he doesn't like video games at all, really. But like I think the more important reason is that he doesn't make a ton of money covering Nintendo games. And traditionally what he does is that he tries to do this thing where he complains about Nintendo taking his money, or he complains about the audience not engaging with it. But the reality is he just constantly complains about Nintendo so much that he drives away fans of the company. Like nobody who likes Nintendo would ever go to DarkSydePhil to watch his coverage of it. And I think like Donkey Kong Bonanza is like a shining example as to why. He complains about the game constantly. He can't engage with it in any meaningful capacity. Like there's so many things he did wrong in this playthrough. And I wanted to like really break down his review of it to kind of explain from someone who like did release a critical review the game myself. Like, I want to explain why DSP is being unreasonable. I think that's very important to me. That even though I didn't like the game very much, I still think Phil is like a complete like he's completely disingenuous and will lie about the game to suit his own purposes. So let's take a look at what Phil says.
What is up, everyone? DarkSydePhil here, and I have just completed my playthrough of Donkey Kong Bonanza on the Switch 2. It clocked in at just around 30 hours long.
Okay. This is my first problem with this. Something that like I do think needs to be like spelled out for people. The game is not 30 hours long. Okay, like I did like all the post game
Now
stuff
connected to Cody.
at 40. So like I beat the game, which is what Phil did at like 18. So like most people will get through the main story in like 20 hours, about 20 hours, and then they'll go back and do the post game stuff, which will take them like another 20 hours essentially. So what Phil is admitting here, like for his 30-hour Donkey Kong Bonanza playthrough, it took him 30 hours to get through a 20-hour campaign. That's basically 10 hours longer than what he was supposed to do. And it's very telling, just like looking back at his gameplay and how he played like an idiot. Like, he was like going around in circles, not accomplishing anything, complaining about like struggling with basic mechanics. Like I remember when like he first booted the game up and he's in the first room of the game, and instead of like going straight through like everyone else, he does this weird thing where he spends an hour in like that first room just running around in circles like punching things. So like we have to keep this in mind when talking about the game, because like Phil played this game like an idiot. He had no perspective on like how the game was actually paced. He had no intention of like pacing himself. Like he just screwed around indefinitely, and this is gonna come back later. But like, I want you to keep that in mind as we cover this situation. The hell, wait.
30 hours long. I did a significant amount of the side content. I did not 100% the game, nor did I do any of the post game content.
Yeah. So he didn't do the post game content. So opinion immediately discarded, especially if he complains about the difficulty. Because the game really does ramp up in difficulty once you like start doing like some of the post game content and start like having to 100% all the bananas and stuff like that. Games like this are kind of designed to be 100% completed. So like if he complains about the difficulty in any way, shape, or form, like keep that in mind. He did not do the far more challenging post game content.
I'm going to tell you why in this review. I'm going to be as concise as I can be while trying not to spoil, because there are some critical elements to Donkey Kong Bonanza that if you were a fan of Donkey Kong, you would not want to be spoiled on. So I hope that you appreciate that I'm not going to tell you full justification for some of my thoughts on the game.
Phil, the game is a month old. Everyone already knows. It's not some huge secret. Like anybody who cares already knows about it. It's not a big deal.
However, the fact that this game was being pushed as the system seller, right?
No, it
After
wasn't. No, it wasn't. This was a YouTuber fan fiction theory, a system seller. Really? Mario Kart World is the system seller. Mario Kart World was the launch day game. Like this weird fan fiction, like alternate reality, where like, well, Nintendo should have released Bonanza day one because that game looks way more appealing. Like that that's not actually true. Like Mario Kart World clearly has a lot more mainstream appeal. It's clearly way more successful. It's being sold at a higher price point. Like Bonanza was a game made for core fans, obviously. It's not a system seller.
Mario Kart World came out and people started playing it like, wow, it's really good. But a lot of people, including me, ended up becoming very skeptical about Mario Kart World because they realized the game doesn't have a lot of content. I
Wrong.
debate
Yeah. I've put like 40 hours into Mario Kart World since it came out. Like I know people who have put hundreds of hours into it, and you're gonna sit there and tell me that the game has no content. Like this has always been my issue with like the Mario Kart World Discord. Like Phil will legit try and tell you the game has like 3 hours worth of content, which is obviously ridiculous because even if you're like accounting for like single player content, you have the Grand Prix, you have the knockout tour, and you have the time trials, which Phil never touched. The time trials, I would say, would probably take more time than like the rest of that. I haven't like finished the time trials yet either, but the game has a ton of single player content, and of course you have the open world, which Phil also didn't touch. The free roam mode in Mario Kart World is really good, by the way. So like this is just a gigantic cope from our boy DSP.
the story mode slash the tours in 3 hours, and the online play was actually some of the most inferior online play of any Mario Kart game. So
Of any Mario Kart game. So you're saying it was worse than Wii? You're saying it was worse than DS? You're saying it was worse than like what is he talking? Like Phil? Like let's be real here. Like any Mario Kart game, Phil doesn't even have any real experience with Mario Kart. Like I think someone tried to ask him like what his favorite like least favorite Mario Kart game was, and I think he said like Mario Kart DS was his least favorite. And like that game was like a huge cultural phenomenon at the time. So like I I don't believe Phil has actually really spent any significant amount of time playing any Mario Kart game. Like, I think he played 8 when it came out because he was a streamer by that point. No, a Let's Player at that point. Like, I believe he played a little bit of 8, but like, uh, this idea that he's like some Mario Kart aficionado who can like accurately review these games and talk about them is just laughable. Like, he doesn't know anything about Nintendo or its IPs.
a lot of people were turned off and said, well, what do I play next on my Switch 2? There's nothing but ports.
Nothing but ports. Yeah, just ignore, just ignore all the games that launch day one on it. Games that like, games that were exclusive to the console, the new stuff. Yeah, just ignore like just ignore everything on the eShop. Please pay no attention to the numerous games on the console. It's so laughably off base. Like you gotta love the implication here. It's like, oh, it's nothing but ports. Like, are you assuming that like everyone has played every single game ever? Like, it's perfectly reasonable to pick up a Switch 2 for Mario Kart World and then turn around and buy like a game that was originally released on another platform, right? Like that's perfectly reasonable, right? Like there's nothing weird about that at all. Like it's just a giant code.
And so when Donkey Kong Bonanza was announced and then it came out in July of 2025, yes, this is the reason now, the system seller, this is why we needed a Switch 2. Or at least that's what Nintendo led you to believe. And hey,
What Nintendo led you to believe that was, like I said, that was entirely a YouTuber thing. Like Nintendo never said that Bonanza was the reason to own a Switch 2. That's just something that YouTubers made up. Like
bit the bait, hook, line, and sinker. I saw that Nintendo Direct that was just about Donkey Kong Bonanza, and everything they showed you made it look like this game was essentially the next Mario Odyssey.
it is.
We had Super Mario Odyssey in 2017, blew us all away with its creative designs, the transformations with the hat.
Like Phil, like I remember like Phil playing through Mario Odyssey and like getting to the end, like through the final challenge or whatever, and he just glitched his way through it with like the frog glitch. So don't let Phil take don't 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 listen to Phil. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Every world feeling like a completely different game, right? The jungle world versus New Donk City versus the world where it's like Dark Souls, the big finale against a big Bowser boss. It all feels so unique and interesting. The game is constantly innovating and changing things and staying fresh and making
Yeah. So does Bonanza.
you feel like, wow, this is like game of the generation when it comes to Mario. This is worth the money. This is a Switch system seller. This is good stuff. And that's what they made Donkey Kong Bonanza look like in its Nintendo Direct. Ladies and gentlemen, Donkey Kong Bonanza is not as good as Super Mario Odyssey, in
Don't
my
agree with that.
opinion.
Don't agree with
Super
that at
Mario
all.
Odyssey was my game of the year pick for 2017. Yes, I even thought that Odyssey was better than Breath of the Wild that year for the level of innovation, the graphics, the way that every
Yeah,
single
that's completely. Yeah, I was kind of down on Mario Odyssey too. It's been so long now, I don't remember where I ranked it, but like I don't even think it made my top 10 that year. Yeah, Mario Odyssey I felt was kind of simplistic and didn't really. I didn't like. I don't know. I don't think I like the collectibles or like the pace. Yeah, it was the pacing. So like saying it's better than Breath of the Wild is just laughably stupid. Like so yeah, so I think the important take here though is that like he's saying it's better than Bonanza. And I went back and played Mario Odyssey. It's not better than Bonanza. It doesn't have like that same, the action isn't as good, like I don't know. I'll have to replay both to kind of like spell out how I feel about this. But I do think Bonanza has left way more of an impact on the community. I really think Mario Odyssey was only as popular as it was because it was a Mario game. But I think Bonanza, like long term, is kind of going to establish itself as this really popular, like really. This is like the Donkey Kong game going forward, I would say. So I think that's very important to know. But
stage was different. It never felt boring or overstayed its welcome during the course of that playthrough. Donkey Kong Bonanza starts off strong. You arrive in this world where everything is destructible. And it's like a playground. Like, I've never seen a game with this level of destruction before. You know, I played games way back when where their destructibility, you could blow up buildings and things like this, Red Faction, Gorilla, or Battlefield 4, but nothing compares to Donkey Kong Bonanza. You can literally smash almost everything in the environment, and once you get a sonar ability, you can see hidden collectibles through walls, such as bananas that you collect to get upgrades, almost like this is an RPG and you gain skills through getting enough bananas. There's also relics that you find that allow you to unlock equipment, You can either wear clothing that will give you abilities like maybe resistance to certain kinds of damage, or when you transform into a special transformation mode, maybe you have more health or you're stronger. And then there's outfits for the sidekick character, Pauline, that allow her to also give you buffs and things like that that you buy with these relics that you find throughout the worlds. Now, yes, the worlds are different. As you travel through these layers, going deeper and deeper into the core of the earth, there's going to be a world that's ice and fire, a world that's like a jungle, a world that's like a trash heap. Okay. They're all themed, and each one usually has some kind of a unique element to it. In one world, there's going to be acid, and the only way you can stop the acid is to throw sand on it. Okay.
It's
But the
salt, but
thing
okay.
is,
You idiot.
unlike Super Mario Odyssey, where every world truly does feel just like that, a different world with different mechanics that you can learn, and now it feels unique and different. With a Donkey Kong Bonanza, every world feels the same. Why? Well, because
Mario Odyssey doesn't have like different mechanics based on the kingdom you're in. Like it's the same thing over and over again. You have different transformations that are available, but the transformations are kind of limited, and you can't really do a whole lot with them. Like I think one of the reasons I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is that it gives you a way more versatile toolkit that you can use anywhere, and you can just kind of apply that in a wide range of different situations depending on where you are. So I think the major thing about Bonanza that makes it better than Odyssey is just the better overall mechanics. I love punching through things. I never get tired of it. I love transforming. I love like just the way the game handles in general. It plays so well. But
there's only two things to really do in Donkey Kong Bonanza.
wait,
The
what?
same. With a Donkey Kong Bonanza, every world feels the same.
No, they
Why?
don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. What are you talking? Every world feels the same. Well, you go around like uh punching things like, oh man, it's all the same. Look, what are you talking about? The environments are way different. The enemies are way different. Like you have like, hazards you have to avoid. You have like different things you have to do. Like, what do you mean they all feel the same? Like you even lose Pauline for a little bit. It's like how is this the same thing over and over and over again? It just isn't. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, because there's only two things to really do in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Follow the exclamation points around the map where people will tell you, go over here and do this, go over here and do this, go over here and do this, go to the next layer. Do this, next layer, do this, boss fight, onto the next layer. That's the core gameplay elements. And if you rush through the game, you can beat this game in around 10 hours. I'm not kidding. No exaggeration. It's
Wow, so if you speed run the game, you can beat it quickly. Wow, what an astute observation, Phil.
documented on the internet. If you skip any of the challenges, the side content, or anything like that, you can beat Donkey Kong Bonanza in around 10 hours. But the key elements of the game are the collectathon feeling. Going
Yep.
through the game, using the sonar, finding all the hidden bananas, completing platforming challenges to get extra bananas, finding all of the hidden fossils so that you can then unlock all the equipment pieces. That's the whole point of the game. That's the gameplay loop. That's what's supposed to hook you. And to be honest, it did hook me early on. But once I got about 10 hours into the game, you're beating World 2, you're heading into World 3, World 4.
What? World 2? 10 hours in? Like, come on, Phil. So, like, oh, once you're a third of the way through the game, like, I'm sure that has nothing to do with the fact that's around the point that people would stop watching you stream it, Phil. Like, and let's be real honest here. Like, the real reason he's so upset is that like this game, this playthrough, didn't get him a ton of money. Like, people weren't donating to him for this. Like that's the real reason he's upset, and he's kind of dodging the issue. He keeps making it. He keeps trying to make it out to be about the game. Like, oh, the audience is bored of the game. No, they're bored of you, Phil.
You start to realize the game's starting to feel really samey. I mean, yeah, the,
No.
the the looks of the environment look a little different, and maybe there's like one new gameplay element in the world, but the thing is, it's only really ever implemented in that world. It's not like you learned a new gameplay element and
Wow, in that world. So you're saying that they don't reuse the same concepts later on, that they move on to the next thing. Like, what a great observation. So basically what you're admitting to is that like, yes, all the layers are completely different, Phil. Like, come on. And it's like this is a collectathon, right? So you're not gonna get everything your first time through. So like, what I ended up doing in the post game was that I ended up going back through the layers and like looking through everything and like finding things I had overlooked the first time, right? Like that's what you're supposed to do. So the entire argument that like, well, you don't see this stuff later on, like uh that's obviously not true because of how the way the game is structured, Phil.
Now you got to use this later. It's more like, well, it's just for that one world, and when you're gone, you're gone. It's done. On to the next world that has one gameplay element. But the one thing that remains constant, smashing everything. Just smash everything. Smash the wall, smash the ceiling, smash the ground, dig it all up, get the items.
Super
That's the
satisfying.
gameplay loop of Donkey Kong Bonanza. So if you're okay with that, and you want to sink endless hours into this kind of exploration collectathon gameplay, great. But for me, I was looking for something more original that actually would feel different with each world. And sadly,
What but it is different with each world. Like this is something fresh and original. Like what game exists that's like this? You know, you can't name anything. So like you can't really point to like, well, The Last of Us has Joel going out with a pickaxe so he can like save Ellie from the mines. Like that doesn't happen. Like so like what have you played that's in any way similar to Donkey Kong Bonanza?
for me, it just didn't. Okay. Now, there are unique animal transformations. You could
Yes.
turn into a super powered gorilla. You could turn into a zebra that runs really fast. You turn into an ostrich that can fly and hover. You turn into an elephant that can suck up kinds of ground and make it into giant boulders it can throw. And you can also turn into a snake that can super jump and slow down time. That's all well and good, but to be honest with you, you almost never use the zebra. You almost never use the snake. In fact, you get the snakes.
What? You almost never use the zebra. Like I use the zebra all the time. What are you talking about? Zebra is probably my favorite transformation. Like what is he talking about? What is he talking about?
So late in the game, it's almost never used at all.
Yeah, snake is never used. That's a take. That isn't true at all.
The first form is great for combat, and you can bully your way through almost all combat in the game just by activating that first transformation and mashing buttons. No exaggeration. There's entire bosses that I'm sure there was a way to actually try to beat them, but I just activated the first transformation and mashed the button and beat the boss. Brainless. It's completely brainless gameplay. You could just beat the game like that. Okay? The elephant you can use for tougher things. Like later on, there's bosses who use like fire elements and things. Just suck it all up, throw it back, win. So in reality, if you don't understand what I'm getting at, Donkey Kong Bonanza is incredibly easy.
Yeah, but okay. If that's true, why do I keep seeing you die on stream, Phil? Like, why did I watch you like struggle against the void? Like, why have I seen you like complain about the game? Like, it's incredibly easy. Like, okay, Phil, why don't you go to the post game and then see how that goes? Like, again, it's like again, if it was any more difficult, like this guy wouldn't be able to beat it. Like that's kind of my take about people who like say this game is too easy. Like other than like it's a cope, honestly. Especially when he tries to say that like, well, Mario Odyssey was better than this. Like Mario Odyssey was not more challenging than this.
I would say out of my 30 hours, maybe 1 hour challenged me. And that would have just been a few optional platforming challenges to get extra bananas and or maybe one or two bosses. And that's
I love that like DSP is complaining about challenge. Like the guy who complains about like the game. Wait a minute, yeah. Remember like early on when he was like turf surfing on like the brambles or whatever in that first the footage that like beat 'em ups covered. He is going to complain about the difficulty of this game when like he struggled extensively with that bonus room. And he's gonna cope and say that like, well, only the bonus rooms were challenging. Well, like that goes against your entire point, Phil. Because like if the bonus rooms exist, if there's reason to do them, then that means the game is challenging. So like this idea he has that like, they're optional, so it doesn't count. Like that's not true.
it. This game is insanely easy. It's just unplug your brain, run around mashing buttons, collecting items, leveling up, and then just rushing through to the boss, and you're done. That's the game. Now, there is post-game content, but I didn't do it. For what I
Yeah.
don't understand, you just go back to the same worlds you've already been in, and now there's new challenges and new bananas to find, but not much significantly different. It's just more of the same.
Absolutely not. Like, the post game stuff is so radically different from the base game, it's kind of shocking. Like, one of my main criticisms of the base game actually was that there wasn't more stuff like that in the base game. Like, and again, I can understand why they structured it that way, but like, yeah, it's radically different than the base game. That's completely wrong.
The thing is, I was bored with that collectathon style around 10 to 15 hours in, and I just wanted it to go to something new and original. Are there original things? Well, there's one stage in the game that's completely fan service. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil it. And I will say this, the final level, the final hour of the game is by far the best hour of Donkey Kong Bonanza. That level actually implements use of almost all of your transformations, has epic boss fights, cool Easter eggs, and all kinds of awesome references. If you're a fan of Donkey Kong Country and or Donkey Kong in general, the final hour of Donkey Kong Bonanza is worth
Phil didn't grow up playing Donkey Kong Country, by the way. He didn't play it until the Wii U Virtual Console version, at least.
fighting through, getting through all that repetition and boredom to get to. But overall, I'm not reviewing the final hour of Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm reviewing the entire package. And this game is full of flaws. Number one, the graphics. They're great, except when they're not. There were many critical points during the playthrough when the graphics would chug. You'd be in the middle of a critical boss fight. Oh my goodness, there's a million things on the screen, and all of a sudden, the game goes down to the teens of frame
Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody cares, Phil. Like, nobody cares. I never want to hear people, like, complaining about frame rates ever. This game runs great. So,
rate, and you're trying to
no,
play
not
it, and the
true.
game actually controls in slow-mo. It's a console exclusive game. Why isn't it optimized to run on the console? If the console can't handle what you want to do with the boss fight, then change the boss fight. It's a no-brainer. But they didn't do that. Instead, you have to fight through these annoying parts. I'd say there's probably 3 different boss fights in the game, including some of the final bosses, which are the hardest in the game, where the frame rate dips and the game plays in slow-mo. It's infuriating. Okay? Also, just the whole idea that the game at its core is a collectathon. Okay? Collectathon games were popular in the 1990s.
Yep.
Games like Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, and Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah,
The
amazing.
last time they pulled a game like this, basically almost killed the entire genre. Donkey Kong
Okay, so he's just quoting game studios now. I've actually disputed this before, and this is pretty observably not true. Because Sunshine came out after that. Like it's like it killed the genre. What are you talking about? Like 3D collectathons are a subgenre of the 3D platformers. So eventually they became like the Galaxy-esque ones, and then they brought the genre back with Odyssey. So it's like, what are you talking about? Oh, they killed the genre. Like, okay, then why are we still getting 3D collectathons today? Why are they still bestsellers? Donkey Kong Bonanza is one of these games, and it's one of the best of the year. Like, oh, DK64 was really bad. No, it wasn't actually. It was better than this, for sure. Like,
Kong 64 was actually rated so poorly and disliked by so many gamers that they stopped making collectathon games.
not true. Not true. What is he talking about? Like Banjo-Tooie came out after that. Mario Sunshine came after that. They stopped making collectathon games. Like, no. Like, nobody thinks that, Phil. It's not a thing. It's something that Game Journos made up. So,
I'm not kidding. Like, that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. So I have a question to ask Nintendo. If collectathon games stopped working in the late 90s and early 2000s and everyone stopped making them, why did you bring them back? Why didn't you make Donkey Kong Bonanza a game like Super Mario Odyssey, where it just employs cool, original, fun platforming elements?
it does though. Like, what is he talking about? Like, oh, why don't you make Bonanza more like Odyssey? Like, it's basically an Odyssey sequel. Like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, you don't collect things in this collecting game. That doesn't even make any sense.
For the most part, instead of just running around smashing things through walls and collecting bananas and fossils. I just don't get it. You know what works because we abandoned this formula 25 years ago.
No, we
You
didn't.
decided to bring it back when no one asked you for it. I literally don't get it. Like I said, it's not that it's bad or not functional, but you do it so much that you just get bored. Like I got bored with the collectathon halfway through and I just wanted to get to the end. And people were like, oh, 15 more hours of this. Good Lord. You would have thought a platformer I could have beaten in like a couple of weeks. It took me a month and a half. You want to know why? My audience got so bad.
A month and a half, yeah, because you weren't playing it every day, Phil. Like I got towards the end of Bonanza in like a day. Like I like took a day and I was just like, okay, stream it for like 6 hours. Like I did like 3 streams that day. I think I went out and did something like during the day, but like yeah, I had like an early morning stream. I think I took a nap. I came back and I got to like the prison day one. So like yeah, the game is you can get through the game fairly quickly. Like so the problem with that is that like Phil wasn't playing the game regularly. He was playing it like once a week and complaining about it taking too long when like he wasn't taking the time to play it.
Bored of the game. They were begging me to quit.
Who was doing that, Phil? Like first of all, do you even have any fans? Like, I don't think, oh, they were begging me to quit. Okay, well, I'm sure they're also begging you to quit, like, Grand Theft Auto 4 or Mafia or, like, Gears of War. Like, they were begging me to quit. Like, I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second. Like, your audience, your audience, you're a streamer and you are playing new video games that come out. Like it's if that's your business model, if that's like like what you do as a streamer, like that's what you do. Like the problem with Bonanza, it really does feel as if like he went into it wanting to hate it because it didn't bring him in the money.
Stopped showing up, they stopped engaging, and they stopped supporting my stream saying, quit the game. I had to tough it out to finish this game. That's not a good sign. $70 plus tax for a game that doesn't have nearly as much innovation, nearly as much fun as a game that came out 8 years ago, when all we ever wanted was Super Mario Odyssey 2. We got Donkey Kong Bonanza, a game that just sadly doesn't hold a candle to the previous iteration of platforming on the Switch 1. So it's disappointing. I didn't hate the game. I do think it's way too long. It's way too repetitive. The collectathon gets boring, and the graphics should not be chopping up the way that they do. But ultimately, there were some moments that I really liked, particularly that last hour of the game actually is incredibly good, and I actually really liked how it ended. But I didn't need to go through 29 hours to get to the one good hour.
Yeah.
The whole game.
Yeah. Yeah. So like don't play like an idiot. Like that's all I can tell you. It doesn't take that long to get to the ending.
Could have been good, and that's the core problem with Donkey Kong Bonanza. It should have been better, like Mario Odyssey was.
Mario Odyssey was. Yeah, so typical Pretendo argument. Like, it should just be like the game I played when I was younger. Like, come on. Come on.
Here's how did they get worse? I don't get it. So ultimately, you make the decision, but I don't think that Donkey Kong Bonanza is as good as Super Mario Odyssey. I don't think it's a Switch 2 system seller. And here we are now, 3 months into the life cycle of this new console, and I'm still scratching my head why anyone needs it. You don't need to play Mario.
Needs it? What are you talking about?
Kart World. It's actually the weakest Mario Kart in ages, if not the weakest ever.
Wait, hang on.
Into the life cycle of this new console, and I'm still scratching my head why anyone needs it.
To play video games, Phil. Like that's why you need the console, to play the video games. And again, I've talked about this before, but like there's this weird mindset among like these kind of vacant-eyed like streamers about how like the only reason you would buy a Switch 2 is for exclusives, when in reality, like everything that's on the console is something that you could potentially like. So you're not like the way he makes it sound as if like Mario, like literally the only thing you can buy right now is Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. when that's not really true at all. Like you can go out and buy all sorts of things. You can get Yakuza, you can get Survival Kids, you can get like Rune Factory, Guardians of Asuma, you can get Hitman, World of Assassination, which is legit my favorite game on the console. So like this idea that people have that like, well, like you have to play the exclusive games. No, you don't actually. And it's a weird double standard that you only see lobbied at Nintendo titles. Like no other console has to deal with this nonsense. But
You don't need to play Mario Kart World. It's actually the
yes, you
weakest
do.
Mario Kart in ages, if not the weakest ever.
In ages, Phil, they haven't released a new Mario Kart since Mario Kart 8 in 2014. 2017 if you include the deluxe version on Switch. But like, oh, it's the weakest Mario Kart in ages. Like, no, it's not, Phil. Like, I love how he always like brings up the length of the game as if like Mario Kart 64 isn't something you can beat in an hour, right? Like he's just he's just with no online play. Like Phil's lying.
Donkey Kong Bonanza is insanely underwhelming, boring, repetitive, and not as good as Super Mario Odyssey. And
Like
everything
even if that was true, even if these games weren't as good as older games in their series, which I actually do believe with Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think older Donkey Kong games are way better. Even if that is true, the games are still worth buying and playing, like they're still fun, So like even if like, you have better options, you don't necessarily know that if you're not a fan. So like, if you just want to play as a monkey, like destroying things, like Bonanza's like a lot of fun. And I think that's like the perspective that a lot of people are going into this is that like they're not thinking about whether or not they like Donkey Kong Country more. They're thinking about like whether they want Bonanza specifically. And I think a lot of people do feel that way, that Bonanza is a really good game that they could spend a lot of time with. And that's the most important thing. So like again, this double standard that people have that like, well, old Nintendo games are better. Like that doesn't matter, Phil. Like what matters is whether the game itself is good. And the simple fact of the matter is he has not made his point clear. Like his entire core argument basically boils down to saying that like Bonanza isn't as good as Super Mario Odyssey, and it's just like I don't even agree with that necessarily, but like even if it was true, like the game is so radically different anyway that you would get a lot of mileage out of both. Like you wouldn't want them to be the same. But anyway,
else is a port.
wrong. Okay, okay. So like the idea that everything else is a port is also incorrect. Like there were plenty of like games that launched day one on Nintendo Switch 2 that were not available on other consoles. Well, that launched alongside the other consoles. So like you did have games like Rune Factory Guardians of Asuma or like Fantasy Life 2, which were basically like launch window games. And we've gotten like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 and stuff like that. Like there's plenty of games to play on this console. So the idea that like there's nothing to play is just a giant cope.
Oh, banana. When I started playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, we were all making jokes. Ooh, banana. By the end of the playthrough, every time I booted up the game on a stream, everyone was like, oh, banana. Not again. Isn't it over yet? No.
What? What is he talking about? Like everybody was like, "Oh, I could totally hear the sarcasm in my text-based chat system." Like, what is he talking about? Like, can you actually look at his chat and like verify if this is true? Because I was actually looking at his chat when he was playing this. Because I was in the chat watching him sometimes, and like I never saw any of this. Like, I genuinely don't believe this is a real thing. Like, I don't think his chat is actually telling him to like play certain video games. Like, I think what he means is that like they weren't giving him money, and that's the problem.
Oh, I have to finish it. So I'm happy I beat it tonight. Thank you to those who watched my playthrough. I hope that this review allows me to explain some. And again, it's hard to really fully explain what I mean when I can't give you spoilers. I don't want to spoil the game for people, but please trust me.
What does spoilers have to do with anything? Like, like you should be able to talk about the game itself without talking about the things that happened in the last hour. What is he talking about?
Sadly, so far this year, for console exclusives, Nintendo is 0 and 2. Two games that should have been system sellers that were insanely disappointing. What's next? Pokemon? Metroid Prime 4? Kirby Star Riders. Something's got to be good.
Air
Or else,
Riders, you
why
idiot.
do we have this console? I have it because I need to review it, but you might have dropped a lot of money on this thing and you're scratching your head. What do I do with it? Or maybe
I'm playing the games, Phil, because I'm not a fucking man-child in a basement streaming. I play games for fun, okay? Like, I don't fucking need, like, oh, justify this console, Nintendo. Why do I need it? Like, I'm playing games on it, Phil. Like, everyone else is playing games on it, Phil. Like, just.
you're wondering, when should I buy the Switch 2? In my opinion, not yet. I'm still waiting for a great game. I've got a couple okay games. I want great ones. There's nothing here yet. Thanks for watching my video on Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Okay, there's nothing here yet. Yeah, and yet he like plays games on PC and PlayStation 5 Pro. What an idiot. Yeah, so he'll buy a PlayStation 5 Pro, which has no exclusives at all. And yet he'll like try and shill it like, oh, the graphics are so pretty. And then like he'll turn around and like try and like demand like, well Nintendo, why should I get a Switch 2? Like there are no games for it. Like 0 and 2. It's just completely ridiculous. And it really should be called out for what it is. And I hope like I do hope that people start like addressing like the elephant in the room when it comes to Switch 2 coverage is that these people don't like games. Like a simple look in the eShop will show you all the upcoming titles that are coming out. Like there's plenty of things to buy on this thing. There's plenty to look forward to. There's plenty to support and to play and to enjoy. Like there's so much happening on Nintendo Switch 2, and yet like the YouTube community is kind of like plugging their ears and just ignoring it. Like, oh, they only have two games. Like an argument that's going to implode the instant that we get a new Nintendo Direct, by the way. So it's like I don't know. I really, really wonder just how much longer these people can keep up this facade. And I suppose that like that's what they did with like the Switch One too, where they just spent like the first couple of years insisting it didn't have any games, and then Animal Crossing came out, and then they tried to say like, well, the console is peaked now and it's like losing relevancy. It's like it's the same thing they always pull, and I just have to wonder like at what point like people start noticing the patterns, like people start pointing this out because like the Switch 2 really only happened, I think, because so many people were religiously like adamant that like a new Nintendo console is coming out. Don't buy a Switch 1, bro. And like, third parties were just refused. Like it's the Switch 2 is really like I kind of do feel the same way is that like the Switch 2 didn't need to come out so soon. But at the same time, it was kind of necessary because of how the third party industry works and how they desperately were trying to abandon Nintendo hardware. Like, no, no, you're coming right back and you're putting more games on the console. So I'm very curious in seeing like what ends up happening like later on in the year because Phil's not gonna budge on these takes, like these piss poor takes that I think a lot of people like myself are gonna be upset with him about. Um, I I imagine he's gonna shit all over like Air Riders. I imagine he's gonna shit all over like ZA. Like I imagine he's gonna shit all over Metroid Prime 4 when that comes out. Like it's not that these games are bad. The problem is that like they're not going to bring in like a lot of viewers to his stream. And I think that's the real issue that Phil is having is that like because of his age, right? Because of his reputation, like he's never ever ever going to hit the heights that he had in the past. Like the Kino Casino arc was like his one like chance at redemption, and he just kind of like completely blew it. And I do think that is worth pointing out is that like I would say like we all knew that Ashton and Andy were gonna snake Phil eventually. It was gonna happen. But I think in theory, if like Phil had played his cards correctly and like really made an effort to change and improve his streams and stuff like that would have led to like people unironically wanting to like support Phil and wanting to see him succeed and stuff like that. More like the low tier god community. Like because of Phil and his attitude though, it's just a nonstop barrage of just people just freaking out at him all the time. And it is because of his actions. It is because of his attitude. It's not because of Nintendo or the games. It's because of you, Phil. And I hope people outside of like my sphere start addressing like Phil's ridiculous takes on Nintendo because this is one of those things that like goes overlooked in the DSP community, but like Phil really does have this intense hate boner for Nintendo and desperately wants to see them fail. So I do hope that becomes more commonly known and more people start addressing this as he talks about the company going forward. And but yeah, until that happens, I will see you all next time. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.